Contact now. 1-800-823-6313. 1-800-823-6313.
You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing that we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Chicago is reeling under what is just short of the largest snowstorm in its recorded history. And travel for anyone in the Midwest will be a nightmare. And the system that made Michigan Avenue impassable is now hitting the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic with mainly an ice storm, and serious icing is underway in some areas right now. Good morning. Welcome to the special edition of Weather Center. I'm Rick Griffin. We're keeping an eye, of course, on this monster storm system, the first major storm of 1999, and it now takes its first strike today on the eastern third of the country. Also associated with the storm is the threat of severe thunderstorm activity in the south. And let's go briefly to the studio with Mark Mancuso for an update on that. Mark?
All right, thank you very much, Rick, and good morning. Yesterday, we had a lot of reports of high winds, hail, and tornadoes across the deep south. Today, the squall line moving away from South Florida. Your severe threat is over. But in eastern North Carolina, we still have a tornado watch in effect, mainly along the southeast coast here. And as the squall line continues to move eastward this morning, we'll be watching for the potential for thunderstorms along and ahead of the squall line to produce some damaging winds and maybe even some tornadoes. That will be for the next 2 hours here in eastern North Carolina. Rick?
Mark, thanks a lot. Once again, the severe weather will be diminishing fairly quickly early on this Sunday, as Mark indicated. The snow as well through the Midwest, tapering off fairly quickly. We'll talk to Paul Cosin, our winter weather specialist, here in just a moment. We'll check on Chicago and Detroit and see how things are shaping up. Right now, though, let's get a look at what's happening in terms of the ice, which is developing in the Northeast. As we look at the Midwest radar, we can see that the snow is diminishing, but there is a lot of precipitation moving into the Northeast, and some of the rain is falling into exceptionally cold air. One location that's occurring is the Capital District in upstate New York. That is Albany and vicinity. And live on the scene this morning is the Weather Channel's Mike Seidel. Good morning to you, Mike.
And good morning, Rick. Here in the upstate of New York, temperatures are now 11 degrees, so we're seeing very little warming. And we're getting sleet and some freezing rain. Whatever is falling is coating the roadways. Where we are, it's like a skating rink, and so are the roads. However, they have been treated this morning with salt, but we're expecting some heavier freezing rain as we get into the mid and late morning hours. By late this afternoon, though, most of this will be over with, but the damage will have been done. The roads will be very slippery, especially away from the coast. Now, if you're watching from New York City or Philadelphia, not a real problem, especially around Manhattan and out on the island, but you get north and west of the city, come up through the Hudson Valley and up to where we are, and temperatures are going to have a real tough time getting above freezing. They've got a long way to go. We think they'll get up to between 25 and 30. but that doesn't do us much good on the roadway. So if you're doing any traveling in the Northeast today, especially the interior, not Boston so much or New York, you need to certainly be warned that the roads could be very, very slippery. And again, this freezing rain causes other problems, as we've seen just a week or so ago in the Carolinas and Virginia back towards Dallas, Texas. Power lines come down, trees pick up the ice, and the weight of the ice and the tree limb snaps. The weight of the ice snaps the tree limb, it comes down over the power lines, and then you're without power. And if you have electric heat, that means it starts to get pretty chilly. So we're hoping that this freezing rain is short-lived, but at this point, looks like some areas are going to be hit with a pretty good dose of freezing rain, and there will be some power outages, unfortunately. This will all be out of the way later on this afternoon. We'll be back to the cold, windy weather, and then a few snow flurries here on Monday and Tuesday with some decent lake effect in the snowbelt areas of New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. So, Rick, again, it's touch and go here today in Albany. Temperatures staying in the teens this morning, rising into the 20s, but a lot of freezing rain and sleet on the way for the next 6 to 8 hours. And we will certainly be monitoring the situation from our post here in Albany. Back to you.
Thank you, Mike. We'll check back with you in about a half an hour at the top of the hour. That's Mike Seidel in Albany, New York, where it's very, very icy early on this Sunday morning. And again, the ice is now moving into Hartford, soon to be in Boston, too. Well, joining me this morning at the update desk is our winter weather specialist, Paul Kosin. Paul, welcome to the Weather Channel, and thanks for joining us early on this Sunday. Let's begin with the snow. We know Chicago's picked up one of the heaviest snowstorms in their weather records the last 24 hours, about 21 inches. As we go to the Midwest radar, we see the snow's tapering off, but are they going to break that all-time snow total of 23 inches in Chicago, do you think?
It looks like it's going to be a little tough. If we look at the radar here, the surface low is sitting up here in northern Michigan, and we're getting what's called wraparound snow that's coming around the center of the snowstorm. Most of that right now is over Lake Michigan and across the western coast of Michigan and through the Upper Peninsula. Once we see that begin to move away, there's still some light bands around Chicago that are still coming through, and it looks like they'll probably pick up anywhere from just a trace to maybe another inch. So it's going to be pretty close for record snowfall.
Okay, but downwind of the Great Lakes, you know, we get the cold air across Lake Superior and Lake Michigan, so the lake effect areas are going to pick up quite a bit more.
Oh, especially once the storm continues moving to the northeast with northerly winds extending all the way across both Lake Superior and Lake Michigan. Marquette, Michigan, and the western shores of Michigan are going to get quite a bit of snow. In some places, they will probably wind up getting well over a foot of new snow just from lake effect.
Okay, that will become a big story during the next 24 hours. How much snow has fallen? Well, again, a widespread area, 1 foot plus in this white shaded region here, including Detroit and Chicago and South Bend and parts of Illinois picking up, parts of Iowa, I should say, picking up a foot or more. Here are the grand totals.
Call toll free now.